The arena stretched farther than Elias Rowan could see. Towering walls of polished black metal glimmered under the harsh white lights, and above, dozens of alien nobles leaned over balconies, their many eyes gleaming with expectation. Every corner of the chamber was lined with banners showing symbols of conquest, trophies from countless worlds conquered, and predators that had been tamed or destroyed. The smell of alien pheromones mixed with the sharp metallic tang of blood and the faint scent of fear. Elias could feel it in the air, heavy and oppressive. At the center of the arena stood the warlord, a creature of immense size, skin patterned like molten copper and eyes that burned with calculated malice. Its voice, when it spoke, resonated like stone hitting stone. "Human," it said, its tone dripping contempt. "Do you know why you are here?" "I believe I have an idea," he replied evenly, his voice calm, betraying none of the tension that filled the chamber. The alien nobles laughed, a sound like metal grinding on metal. One of them hissed, "You should tremble. One word from me and my pet will devour you." It was enormous, far larger than any earth creature Elias had seen in captivity videos. Its sleek body rippled with muscle, each movement fluid and deadly. Its eyes, black with golden flecks, scanned the arena and settled on Elias. The crowd gasped. There had been a history of creatures like this, vicious, uncontainable, engineered to strike terror into the hearts of even the strongest soldiers. They had names across dozens of worlds, whispered in fear. Elias did not move, did not flinch, and did not look away. His expression remained neutral, analytical. The pet's ears twitched, nostrils flaring as it sniffed the air. There was something strange in this human. Most prey ran, screamed, or froze in panic. This one simply stood. "Do you not understand your situation?" the warlord demanded, raising a clawed hand. "Do you not see what waits for you?" The warlord's snarl echoed through the arena. "You dare to ask questions about it?" He simply watched, letting the creature's movements fill his peripheral vision. The warlord's eyes narrowed. "You do not fear it." No one had seen a being face what was designed to destroy them and remain calm. The warlord's tail lashed against the floor, sending sparks as it scraped metal. "You will learn fear," he roared. He raised a hand and gave a sharp, single command. The pet's body tensed. It let out a deafening roar that shook the arena walls. Then it crouched low, muscles coiled like springs, fangs glinting, claws scraping the floor. The crowd erupted, some cheering, some gasping in horror. Elias remained still. His mind raced through the creature's likely behaviors, instincts, and reactions. Years of survival training had taught him to read a predator before it struck. Every twitch of a muscle, every shift of weight was a message. The creature was assessing him, and he was assessing it. Slowly, deliberately, Elias took a step forward. The creature's eyes followed every movement. The audience held their breath. The warlord bellowed again, but the creature hesitated, muscles quivering as it considered its next move. Elias knelt, not out of submission, but to lower himself to the creature's level, showing calm, not challenge. "You're magnificent," he said quietly, voice carrying across the arena. "Your strength, your speed, your focus. I would not want to face you without knowing you first." Elias stayed still, letting the predator get used to his presence. He thought of Earth survivalists, of trackers who could read an animal's mood in a heartbeat. Humans had survived worse, much worse. "You are foolish," the warlord spat. "Do you think you can tame it with words? Understanding is more powerful than fear. Why do you not tremble?" The pet made a sudden move, a subtle step closer. Elias did not flinch. He lowered his hand slightly, palm up, showing no aggression. The creature sniffed, eyes narrowing, sensing his calm confidence. Something deep in its instincts recognized this human as different, not prey, not a threat, but something else. Something it could not yet categorize. The warlord's face twisted in fury. "You insolent creature, attack, devour. I would not be standing here if I were not confident in my knowledge of creatures like you. And yes," he added quietly, "I have seen things far deadlier than your pet." It crouched, muscles coiled, eyes sharp, but it did not attack. Its ears flicked, nostrils flaring. It was curious, confused, and cautious. For the first time, the arena was silent, every eye on the human and the predator waiting. Elias took another small step. He studied the creature's gait, the way its claws pressed into the metal floor, the flex of its shoulders, the twitch of its tail. He could almost feel its thoughts in the way it moved. "You are fast," he said. "You could take down a dozen soldiers in moments, but speed is useless without control. And control, you respect strength when you see it. I respect yours." They had expected a show of dominance, and instead they were witnessing something they could not explain. The warlord's hands clenched into fists. Enough talk, he shouted. Do it now. Elias did not move suddenly. He did not threaten. He simply held his ground, calm and observant. For a long moment, nothing happened. The crowd held its breath. The pet's muscles relaxed slightly, the tension easing as it seemed to recognize Elias not as prey, but as something else. Elias stood straight again. Do you understand me? He asked quietly. I mean no harm, but I will defend myself. I respect you, but I will not fear you blindly. No one had ever seen a human command such respect without weapons, without violence, simply through calm and observation. The warlord's face twisted in rage and disbelief. The nobles whispered rapidly, exchanging glances. Elias allowed a small nod, not of triumph, but of acknowledgement. Thank you, he said softly. You are remarkable. Elias had survived the first test without raising a hand, and the crowd waited, wondering what would happen next. The silence in the arena lingered longer than anyone expected. Even the alien nobles, who had seen countless displays of dominance, were unsure what to make of it. Elias Rowan stood motionless, his eyes tracking the pet's every twitch. He could feel the nervous energy radiating off the warlord, a sharp contrast to his own calm pulse. Every breath he took was measured, every thought focused. Survival depended not on strength alone, but on understanding. The warlord's voice cut through the tension like steel. Do you think yourself clever, human? Do you truly believe you can face my creature without trembling? No human had ever spoken so calmly to a warlord, let alone in the presence of one of the deadliest predators in known space. The warlord's eyes glinted with irritation. You speak as if you understand, yet you have not even touched it, not even felt its teeth. Knowledge is armor. He stepped forward just a little, letting the pet see him move with intention, yet without aggression. Your creature has a keen sense of smell. It relies on instincts honed over generations. It reacts to threat, to stress, to fear. I am calm. That is why it hesitates. It sniffed the air around him again, its golden-flecked eyes never leaving his. The arena's audience gasped. Elias' calm was not a sign of weakness. It was a tool, and the alien predator was recognizing it. You are lucky, the warlord hissed, claws flexing. Most humans would be dead by now. Your species is fragile. You should tremble. You should beg. Fragility is a matter of environment. Humans evolve to survive. We endure extreme conditions, predators far stronger than this one, and still adapt. Fear is a signal, not a command. One, a tall, thin alien with translucent skin and multiple limbs, whispered to a companion. This human, he does not react as they should. He studies, he learns, he controls fear. It was deciding whether this human was prey, threat, or something else entirely. Your pet is strong, Elias said, stepping forward a little more. Its senses are sharp, its speed is unmatched, yet strength alone does not make a hunter effective. Strategy, patience, and observation are far more powerful. It moved a step closer to him, cautiously sniffing again. Elias lowered his hand slowly, palm facing upward, a gesture of non-threat. The creature's eyes narrowed as it considered him. Do you teach your species to face death calmly? The warlord demanded, his voice rising. Do you train them to ignore instinct? Instinct warns us, but instinct alone does not survive. Observation, analysis, and adaptability do. Your creature reacts to fear. I show none. That is why it waits. Elias did none of these. He understood the predator on a level the aliens had never imagined. The pet circled slowly, eyes sharp, sniffing, muscles coiled. Elias noticed its patterns, the way it moved, its posture, the subtle shift of weight before an attack. He realized that, like any intelligent predator, it assessed risk and opportunity constantly. He mirrored its movements in his mind, predicting what it might do next. You are unusual, the warlord muttered. No human has ever behaved like this. But it is predictable. Strength is useless without intelligence. One leaned over a balcony and muttered, It is responding to him. It is not attacking. I do not threaten it, I respect it. That is why it hesitates. Understanding cannot. Elias could see them calculating, trying to understand how a human could face such danger and remain calm. His calm was not arrogance, not ignorance. It was preparation, experience, adaptation. You are strange, the warlord muttered. No human has ever faced this and lived. Humans survive because we learn quickly, adapt quickly, and do not let fear dictate our actions. You cannot understand this because your species relies on instinct and intimidation. We rely on thought, observation, and discipline. That is why I am standing here unharmed while your creature waits. It was tense, muscles tight, but it did not attack. It studied him as carefully as he studied it. Elias could feel the creature's intelligence shining through its instincts, and he respected it. "Your arrogance will be your undoing," the warlord hissed. "Command it to strike, destroy him." Its instincts were at war with its training. It wanted to obey, to attack, but it also sensed the human's awareness. Its careful analysis prevented it from rushing forward. "Do not mistake my calm for fearlessness," Elias said softly. "I understand what you are, I understand what your creature is, I respect both, but I will not tremble. That is not survival, that is surrender. And humans do not surrender." Elias took another measured step forward. He studied the pet's gait, its breathing, the subtle flex of its claws. "Your strength is impressive," he said. "Your instincts are sharp, but without understanding they can be misused. A predator's intelligence is wasted if the handler is weak. I see both, I respect both. That is why I stand here, unharmed, and why your pet does not strike." He had not raised a hand, shouted a command, or shown fear. He had simply observed, respected, and responded intelligently. The warlord hissed, his voice trembling with rage. "This cannot be. No human has ever." "Fear teaches us caution, but understanding grants power. Your creature knows this instinctively, which is why it waits, and that is why I am still here." Its intelligence told it that this human understood danger, respect, and survival better than most beings it had ever encountered. The arena remained silent. The nobles leaned forward, whispering among themselves. Elias had done the impossible. He had faced a legendary predator and lived without threat, without fear, and without violence. He had not conquered the creature. He had outsmarted it with calm, observation, and understanding. The warlord's tail thrashed, his anger barely contained. But even he could see that the human was not ordinary. He had underestimated the species that came from a world of harsh death, of predators, of survival against impossible odds. Elias took one last step back, standing tall, calm, and ready. He had passed the first test, but he knew this was only the beginning. Understanding one predator was one thing. Navigating the politics, the power, and the cunning of an entire alien noble court would be far more dangerous. And yet, Elias Rowan smiled faintly to himself. Humans did not tremble. Humans adapted. Humans survived. And that was what the galaxy was about to learn. The arena had fallen silent. Even the whispers of the alien nobles had faded into an almost reverent hush. For the first time in generations, someone had faced the warlord's prized predator and remained unharmed, not because of luck, not because of tricks, but because of understanding. Elias Rowan stood motionless, breathing steady, eyes tracking the creature's every twitch. Its golden-flecked eyes studied him in return, muscles tense yet restrained. The warlord's face was a mask of fury. "You will pay for your insolence, human," he growled. "Do not think you can lecture me about survival while standing in my arena. Obey or suffer." "But I will not act without understanding. Knowledge keeps me alive. Force can kill you or it can fail. Understanding is what ensures survival." "You underestimate me," the warlord hissed. He turned his eyes to the predator. "Attack." He did not flinch. His eyes scanned the creature's body, noting how it shifted its weight from claw to claw, how its tail flexed in careful rhythm, how the tension in its back told him exactly how much it wanted to spring. He recognized the signs. His life on Earth had taught him to read predators, and Deathworld hunters had taught him to read impossible odds. "You are remarkable," he murmured, not as a challenge, but as an observation. "Strong, fast, intelligent, yet predictable in how you respond to fear." The predator had been trained to attack on command, but it had never encountered a being like this human, calm, alert, and aware of every movement, every nuance. The nobles murmured. Some leaned over the balcony, trying to understand. One of them, a thin alien with translucent skin, whispered, It is choosing not to attack. It is respecting him." Yet something told it that this being was not prey, that this human was different. Its instincts for dominance and survival were at war with something new, awareness. Elias slowly knelt, lowering his body slightly without showing submission. "I do not fear you," he said softly, "but I do respect your strength. Your instincts are sharp, your power is unmatched, and you are the apex in this arena. But I am not prey. I understand danger. I understand strength. That is why you hesitate." The creature's tail flicked, ears twitching. Every movement was cautious, precise, controlled. It was a living weapon, yet it was not attacking. "You are foolish," the warlord hissed. "Do you think your words can change what is natural, that this animal will disobey me? It senses that I am not a threat in the way you expect. It senses intelligence, it senses awareness, it senses respect, and that is why it waits. He was mapping its behavior in real time, predicting the angles, the risks, the potential outcomes. You are impossible, the warlord spat, his voice shaking with anger. No human has ever. Fear can protect you, yes, but understanding ensures survival. The nobles leaned forward, whispering excitedly. One muttered, "It listens to him. It is not obeying fear, it is obeying respect." The warlord's tail lashed again, but the predator did not move. Elias' calm presence was a force the creature had never encountered. The warlord barked another command, furious and sharp, but the predator remained still, assessing, calculating. "You underestimate humans," Elias said softly. "We survive not by intimidation, but by intelligence, not by force, but by observation. Not by instinct alone, but by understanding." "You will regret this insolence," the warlord hissed. "You will see the power of my creature." It was cautious, intelligent, curious. It had never met a being like this. Its training and instincts told it to attack, but its instincts also told it to respect awareness. The nobles whispered excitedly, leaning closer. Elias noticed one of them, a wide-eyed alien, whispering frantically, "Humans, they survive by reading danger, by knowing. By understanding. No human, no one, has ever faced my pet and lived." The nobles gasped, realizing what was happening. Elias had done the impossible. He had faced a creature trained to kill, feared across systems, and had survived without raising a hand, without screaming, without running. He had not conquered with force. He had outsmarted with calm, observation, and understanding. The warlord's face twisted with rage and disbelief. He could not comprehend how this human had survived. The pet had made a choice, one that the warlord could not force. Elias had demonstrated that humans did not tremble because they were fragile. They faced death calmly because they understood it. Elias glanced at the predator one last time, reading its subtle movements, the tension in its muscles, the flick of its tail. He knew that the creature recognized him not as prey, not as a threat, but as something else, something intelligent, aware, and capable of surviving where others would perish. He straightened, breathing steady, and gave a small nod. The predator blinked slowly, its massive head lowering in acknowledgement. The arena remained silent, every eye fixed on the unlikely alliance of awareness over instinct. The nobles leaned forward, whispering urgently. Even the warlord's anger could not mask his fear. This human had done what no other had done. He had faced a legendary predator and had not only survived, but had commanded its respect without weapons, without threats, without fear. Elias' mind raced. The battle was far from over. This was only the beginning. The predator's respect was earned, but the warlord's wrath would not fade. He would test Elias further, push him into situations that no human had ever survived. And yet Elias smiled faintly. Humans did not tremble. Humans did not panic. Humans survived. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand that simple truth. The arena's silence was thick, almost suffocating. The predator, once poised to strike, remained calm yet alert. Every noble leaned forward, their eyes wide, murmuring nervously. Elias Rowan stood tall, surveying the creature with a steady gaze, reading its every subtle movement. It was no longer a weapon merely waiting for a command. It had paused, uncertain, almost thinking, as though it had recognized something in him that defied its instincts. The warlord's face was red with fury. His claws dug into the floor, leaving deep gouges in the polished metal. How dare you survive what no other species could?" he roared. His voice shook, filled with both anger and fear. "Strike it down, show this human his place." Elias had proven one undeniable fact. Fear had no power over him. "You rely on intimidation," Elias said softly, his voice carrying easily across the arena. "You expect obedience through fear, yet fear can be broken, force can be resisted, only understanding endures. Your creature is powerful, but even the most dangerous weapon falters when reason guides it." The nobles exchanged astonished glances. Even the warlord blinked, momentarily speechless. He had expected the human to panic, to scream, to run. This human had done none of those things. Instead, he had faced the predator calmly, observed it, and subtly commanded respect without lifting a hand. "You are mocking me," the warlord hissed, venom in his words. "Do you truly believe your words can control it?" Elias noticed the subtle change in posture. It was curious, cautious, but no longer fully hostile. It had recognized something it could not define, calm awareness. That simple human trait, so common on his death world, was alien here. The warlord's tail lashed violently, sparks flying as it struck the metal floor. Enough, you insolent creature. Attack him now. We survive not because we are strong, but because we understand danger. We adapt. We observe. We learn. That is how we thrive where others perish. He was mapping its behavior, understanding its instincts as if he were reading a story written in muscle and reflex. The nobles whispered, leaning closer to see what would happen next. They were beginning to realize the impossible. The human's calm had more power than fear. It was intelligence and awareness made visible, a demonstration of control without dominance. The warlord's voice rose in fury. I will not be defied, strike him. Elias nodded slightly, careful not to show triumph. He had not won yet. The warlord would escalate, and he needed to stay prepared. Respect is stronger than fear, he said softly. Do not forget that, even you will learn it one day. It obeys only me. Its eyes, sharp and calculating, studied every detail of Elias' posture, his breathing, his movements. It was testing him, analyzing him, weighing risk against potential threat. Elias knew what it was doing. He had trained for this. He had faced creatures far deadlier than this, predators that could kill with a single strike. And he had survived because he understood them, just as he now understood this one. You will pay for your insolence, the warlord screamed. He raised his claws high, preparing to strike directly at Elias himself. The crowd gasped in fear and anticipation. Elias moved at the last possible second, sidestepping smoothly, almost effortlessly, just out of reach. His movement was precise, controlled, and measured. He did not attack, he simply repositioned himself to a safer angle, keeping his eyes on both the creature and the warlord. The predator stopped, caught in a moment of confusion. Its instincts told it to strike, but Elias' calm awareness disrupted the simple commands it had been trained to follow. It had not attacked, it had waited. And now it watched, calculating what this human might do next. The warlord roared in frustration, snapping his claws at the air. How can this be? No human should survive this arena. Your creature responds to awareness, not fear. That is why it hesitates. I command you, strike. He knew the creature's hesitation could only last so long. The key now was to maintain control without provoking blind aggression. He studied the predator's posture, noting the tension in its shoulders, the flick of its tail, the slight shift in its weight. He mirrored these observations mentally, predicting its next movements. You are powerful, he said quietly, more to the creature than to the warlord. You could destroy me in an instant, but force alone is not victory. Intelligence guides strength. Observation tempers instinct. That is why you wait, and that is why I am here. It had recognized him not as prey, not as a threat, but as something else, something aware, alert, and unafraid. The nobles whispered among themselves. One leaned over the balcony and said quietly, It is respecting him, not obeying fear, not obeying the master, but respecting awareness. No human, no one should command this beast. Its muscles coiled, relaxed, then coiled again as though considering Elias' presence carefully. Its golden eyes remained fixed on him. It was tense, alert, but still. It had made a choice, not to attack, not to obey blindly, to wait, to watch, to respect. The nobles gasped, the realization dawning. The human had survived not by strength, not by fear, not by weapons, but by calm, observation, and intelligence. He had done what no one else had done. He had faced a legendary predator and had earned its recognition without violence. The warlord's fury grew, yet even he could not deny it. The human was different. His calm had disrupted instinct. His awareness had guided survival. And the predator, for all its training, all its strength, all its fearsome reputation, had acknowledged him. Elias allowed a small nod, respectful and calm. He had passed the second stage. He had survived the warlord's intimidation. He had earned the predator's attention and recognition, but he knew the warlord would not relent. The next challenge would test not just survival skills, but strategy, patience, and intelligence on a broader scale. For now, Elias Rowan smiled faintly to himself. Humans did not tremble. Humans adapted. Humans survived. And in the arena, the galaxy was beginning to understand that simple truth. The tension in the arena was unbearable. Every alien noble, every servant, every observer leaned forward as if afraid to blink. The predator, massive and powerful, had stopped its advance. Its muscles flexed and relaxed in careful rhythm, eyes fixed on Elias Rowan. The warlord, furious beyond measure, stomped the floor with a claw, sparks flying from the metal surface. Enough! You cannot survive this arena. I command it to end you. The predator let out a low growl, its massive head lowering, nostrils flaring. Its eyes, golden-flecked and sharp, flicked toward Elias and then back to the warlord. It was a creature trained to obey commands, but it hesitated. Instinct warred with awareness. Training warred with intelligence. And the human standing before it had proven something undeniable. He was not ordinary. "You will obey," the warlord roared, claws slashing the air. "Strike him down now." Elias spoke softly, almost a whisper, though his voice carried across the arena. "I respect you. I do not fear you. I am aware of your power, your instincts, your intelligence. That is why you hesitate. That is why you wait." Recognition. The creature understood in its own way that this human was different, not prey, not a threat, but an equal in awareness and understanding. The nobles whispered among themselves. One leaned over the balcony and muttered, "It is respecting him, not obeying fear, not obeying the master, respecting understanding." "Impossible, this cannot be," he bellowed. "No human should have such power over my creature." Its claws dug slightly into the metal floor, yet it remained in place, coiled but restrained. Elias could see the calculations in its movements, the way it assessed him, the way it weighed the risks. It was learning. It was adapting. It was respecting. The warlord's fury reached a breaking point. "You insolent human, you dare lecture me while standing in my arena. Attack now or face your death." "You see," Elias said calmly, addressing the warlord, "intelligence guides strength. Observation tempers instinct. Awareness commands respect. That is how survival works, and that is how I am still standing." Its body was tense, ready to act, but its choice was clear. It no longer followed instinct blindly. It had recognized a threat greater than mere commands, a being capable of understanding and strategy. The warlord's fury turned to panic as the realization struck him. Elias did not move. He did not threaten. He did not raise a weapon. He simply observed, letting the predator's awareness guide the outcome. The creature's massive head lowered, and it let out a deep, commanding growl directed at its former master. Sparks flew from the floor as the warlord leapt back, claws slashing futilely. The nobles gasped. "You see now," Elias said softly, voice calm and measured, "that respect cannot be commanded, it is earned. Strength alone does not control the world. Awareness, understanding, and intelligence do." The warlord screamed in panic, waving his claws, but the creature did not strike him yet. It simply asserted presence, showing power without killing, demonstrating control without blind obedience. The crowd was stunned. The nobles whispered frantically. "No human has ever controlled the creature without fear," one murmured. "Without weapons," another added. Elias watched the predator carefully, noting the shift in posture, the tension in the shoulders, the deliberate positioning of weight. He knew instinctively that the next few seconds would decide everything. He also knew he had earned the predator's trust and respect. That was more powerful than any weapon the warlord had brought. "You cannot command it anymore," Elias said softly, almost conversationally. "It is aware. It chooses. You rely on fear. I rely on understanding. That is why your reign ends today." With a single, precise movement, it lunged at the warlord, forcing him back, claws swinging, sparks flying. The arena shook with the force of the movement, yet no humans were harmed. Elias stayed perfectly still, calmly observing the predator's behavior. The nobles gasped. The warlord stumbled, trying to regain control, but the predator's power was undeniable. It circled him, massive body coiled, eyes glowing, demonstrating that it could strike at any moment, but it did not. Its intent was clear. The human had earned respect. The warlord had not. Elias took a slow step forward, keeping his gaze steady on the predator. "You see now," he said softly, voice carrying across the arena, "that strength alone does not command loyalty. Fear alone does not earn obedience. Understanding, awareness, and respect, these are the tools of survival." He realized, finally, that he had underestimated the human species. Not fragile, not weak, not fearful, humans survived because they understood, adapted, and respected danger. They commanded respect through intelligence, not threats. Elias nodded slightly to the predator, almost imperceptibly. The creature responded, lowering its body in a gesture that was neither submission nor aggression, but acknowledgement. It had made a choice. It had recognized a superior awareness. The nobles erupted into whispered awe. One by one, they began to understand the lesson the human had taught. Survival was not about fear. Survival was not about force. Survival was about understanding, adapting, and commanding respect without cruelty. The warlord, defeated not by weapons, not by brute force, but by awareness, snarled one last time before stumbling backward, humiliated and powerless. His prized predator had chosen the human over him, and in doing so his authority crumbled. Elias remained calm. He did not celebrate. He had not sought victory through aggression or triumph. He had survived through intelligence, observation, and respect for life, even that of a creature trained to kill. That was the strength of humanity, and the galaxy was learning it now. The predator settled beside him, massive body still coiled but calm. Its golden eyes flicked to Elias once more, as if acknowledging that he had earned something more than survival, respect. The nobles whispered frantically. "No species, no one has ever done this," one said. "They faced the predator and lived, and controlled it without fear." He straightened, voice steady, calm, and quiet. "Humans do not tremble because we are weak. We do not panic because we are fragile. We endure because we understand. We adapt because we respect danger. And we survive because we learn faster than any predator can strike." The warlord, furious and powerless, realized his defeat. His reputation, built on fear and domination, was shattered. The human had survived not by fleeing, not by fighting, but by seeing the world clearly and responding intelligently. Elias nodded once, acknowledging the arena, the crowd, and the predator. He turned and began walking toward the exit, calm and unhurried. The predator followed, massive and silent, a living testament to humanity's ability to command respect through understanding. The whispers spread quickly, first through the arena, then across the planetary system, then across the stars. A human had faced a legendary predator, remained calm, earned its respect, and survived. Humanity, fragile and underestimated, had proven once again that true strength came from intelligence, awareness, and the courage to face danger without fear. And as Elias stepped out of the arena, the galaxy began to understand the simple truth. Humans do not tremble. Humans survive. Humans endure. And no predator, no warlord, no force in the galaxy could underestimate them again.